I'm Lance Yelvington for CyberCountry. Jimmy Fortune has been putting out great gospel music his entire career. In this CyberCountry Minute, Jimmy's going to talk to us about getting together with a bunch of his friends to put out a new gospel message and CD entitled Hits and Hymns.
Hits and Hymns is a project that I'm really proud of. As a matter of fact, in most of my interviews, I've been saying it's kind of a God thing because I've been doing this for 13 years on my own now, and I've kind of been doing it through social media. I've got my own label and everything, and things have gone really well. But this just came out of the blue. Hits and Hymns. I was doing a benefit a couple of years ago for Johnny Cash to raise money for his boyhood home and everything in Arkansas, Rector, Arkansas. A friend of mine who happens to be a friend of Bill Gaither, named Bill Carter, heard me singing and doing my show out there, and he came to me after the show. He said, "Look, I need to hook you up with Bill Gaither." And I said, "Man, I've always thought that'd be a great team. If I could hook up with them and maybe do a record, I think it would do great, with him or a CD." And so he went to Bill Gaither and mentioned it to him and his organization. So I get a call from Bill Gaither's organization, Barry Jennings, Bill's son-in-law, set up a meeting. And so I went there and we sat around and talked about maybe doing a CD, and of course getting Ben Isaacs to produce it. And Ben Isaacs is one of my, not only a great talent, a great producer, but he's one of my best friends. I just love him. And periodically, before all this was set into motion, I would see Ben every once in a while, and Ben Isaacs would say, "Hey, I want to produce a record on you." And I thought, man, that's great. I don't know how it's going to ever happen, but that's why I call it a God thing, because he kind of put all this together. And so when it all came together, I got with Ben. We talked about, I had produced most everything I'd done up to that point. And I told Ben, I said, "You're a great producer. I trust you. I'm going to give it all to you. You do it all. You produce it. You pick the singers. You pick the musicians. You pick the songs." And so Ben kind of took the bull by the horn, so to speak, being me. I'm the bull. But anyway, he started, when he went into it, he said, which was a magical statement that he said, "I want to do this, but some of these are hits that you've written, like Elizabeth, Too Much on My Heart, More Than a Name on a Wall, I Believe." There's another song on there that's a new song called If I Was God, which that's the only new song on the CD. But the rest of them are like old standards, like How Great Thou Art, Amazing Grace, Victory in Jesus, Sweet By and By. Precious Memories. That's just a few of the songs, but they're all songs that people have heard before, that connect with people. But he said, everybody's heard them a million times and heard them by a million other people. And so what I want to do is I want to let people hear this like they're hearing it for the first time. And I thought, man, if you can do that, then that'll be great. And once I sit back and listen to what he did, he produced, and the people that he has on there with me singing, people like the Oak Ridge Boys, Vince Gill, Ricky Skaggs, the Whites, the Gaither Vocal Band, and the Isaacs, and then it was magical. And after we sit back and listen to it, then everybody plus Bill Gaither listened to it, the CD and everything, and then they came back with the idea of doing a DVD as well. And so it turned into doing a DVD with it. And the reason I said it's a God thing is because it's the only place I know that could have come from. As I look back on my life, I can see where so many things that happened that were kind of out of my control. I didn't really have anything to do with it. It just happened that way. And
it was kind of cool looking the way you put the whole thing together, though. I mean, it had to have been divine providence, because you've got the Gaither Ministries there, and then you've got all these people, like Vince Gill, like the Isaacs.
Right.
I mean, that took the opportunity, and the Oaks that took the opportunity to work with you to do this, and that is really cool.
Well, we sat down and we talked about it. He asked me about who the people that influenced me, who were some of the people that I liked, that were my favorites. Of course, the Isaacs are right there at the top, and the Gaither Vocal Band. Then, of course, Vince Gill. Vince Gill is probably, if I had to say, pick my favorite of all time, of all genres of anything, it would be Vince Gill. And so I kind of knew he was going to do this, but I didn't know it. But I had recorded the song, and I'd put my voice on the song and everything. And so he would always call me up and kind of surprise me with different things. He said, "Okay, I want to play something for you," and it was kind of a surprise. And of course I'm listening to the song. Then I hear Sonia Isaacs, which is my favorite female vocalist, comes in and sings on a verse of Amazing Grace, and I'm getting chills. And then all of a sudden I hear Vince Gill's voice come in. I cry. I just literally cried, because just hearing our voices together, and on that song in particular, Amazing Grace, and a lot of things came together at that moment. I was humbled, and I just felt like, a matter of fact, I remember telling Ben, I said, "Ben," I said, "I don't want them to sing backup. I want them to sing a verse. I want them to sing something." He said, "Now, Jimmy, wait a minute. Whose CD is this? This is for you. This is your CD." I was like, man, I just can't get up. I said, I just want to hear more of them, you know. And so, I don't know. I just felt real humbled and thankful that I actually had got to sing with them and hear my voices actually mix with their voices, and it was a beautiful blend, and again, nothing but a God thing through it all.
How tough was it to talk anybody to become a part of this? Was it? I imagine it wasn't difficult at all.
No. Everybody was on board. I mean, like I said, I kind of left it up to Ben, and we talked about the Oak Ridge Boys being a big part of. After the Statler brothers retired, the Oak Ridge Boys kind of took me under their wing and put me out and let me do some shows and open for them to get my feet wet on the road. And so I kind of thought, you know, if I can't have the Statler brothers on this, who's the next best thing, you know, to me? I mean, these guys that impacted my life too and worked with me and helped me along the way. The Oak Ridge Boys. They've been so kind, and we had a mutual respect between the Statler brothers and the Oak Ridge Boys. It was always, we're all in country music, but we're yet different entities in country music, but yet always had a big respect for each other. And for them to come along and say, "Hey, Jimmy's out there trying to do something, trying to make a living. Let's help him out a little bit," and they did. And so I thought it would be important to have them on this CD as well.
Yeah, somebody who grew up going to church all my life, still do go to church. As a Southerner, well, am I going to hear any of the influences of the old-time church lifestyle that I'm pretty much used to in this album?
You will. The Gaither vocal band sing a song with me called, it just left me now. Just a Closer Walk with Thee.
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember us saying to Ben, and Ben saying to me that the Gaither vocal band would do that really good. And I said, well, I wonder what they're going to do. And so he sent the song to David Phelps, which sings tenor for the Gaither vocal band, one of the greatest singers in the world, I might add. And he sent back this arrangement, and the only thing I know to say about it, he put the treatment on this song, the arrangement. It's Southern gospel quartet, it's barbershop, it's jazz, a whole different mixture of things on this song with me singing this song. It just comes out of the blue, and it's such a refreshing thing to me because it's different. It's so different than the rest of the record actually. But all of it, every song is treated different. Every song has a different flavor. There's a song on there called Danny Boy, which is an old Irish hymn from years ago that was always usually featured tenor singers singing it. And the way we treated that song, of course, I've heard a lot of people do it, from Elvis to who knows, any singer that's ever been a singer has probably done Danny Boy. And the way we treated it was more, it's a real Celtic kind of a feel, and it really shows off the vocal range and the words in the song. I mean, the main thing in all the songs is that you can hear the words and the voices, are prominent, and my fans in particular love that type of thing. They don't want too much. It's not overproduced. It's not anything that's overwhelming to people that you'll sit and listen and go, gosh, when like Gabriel's blowing his horns and when does he walk through the door? That kind of thing. But it's simple. It's acoustic, and all the songs are treated, and really a lot of thought went into how we were going to go about it. And I owe that all to Ben, though. Ben Isaacs. He was just brilliant with what he did and what he came up with. But yeah, these songs are like Elizabeth. Too Much on My Heart. Elizabeth has the Isaac singing on there with me. Too Much on My Heart has Ricky Skaggs and Sharon White singing with me on that, and they did a wonderful job. I couldn't believe that. I looked out there and I remembered writing that song years ago and thinking, I didn't even know Ricky and Sharon at the time, and now here they are singing my songs, and two of the greatest of all time in my book. And then More Than a Name on the Wall, which is a song that was real big for me because that I wrote when I was with the Statler Brothers. Because of what it says, it's a tribute and a thank you to our veterans, to those who gave all for us, and it was inspired by the Vietnam Memorial in Washington when I went up there one time to just see what all the fuss was about, and I walked around the place and saw there's 60,000 names on one wall, and it just hit me, that all these emotions and the fact that those names were one stacked on top of the other seemed to go on forever, and realizing all the memories behind each of those names and how special each one of those, they were, a mother gave birth to that child, and all them going off to war and never coming home, and all the memories in between, and so many things came together at that moment, and that song was so special, and we did that song on the CD, and I'm glad we did, because it just wouldn't have been completed without it, I don't think, because I get so many requests. One of my most requested songs. But then there's How Great Thou Art. I do that in my shows about every night, and I've always said, if you're doing it in a show, and the show's not going exactly like you like it, like it seems like people are just kind of sitting there and not really getting into it, do How Great Thou Art one time. They're into it. They're singing every word. That's all you got to do. Pull out How Great Thou Art. What a great song. Great words. I mean, because it's true. When you really stop and think about God, and you can see people when you start, it's like a prayer. Oh Lord, my God. When I'm in awesome wonder. I mean, when you see people actually mouthing those words back to you, and you can see these are some of these people are people that might not necessarily go to church every day, but it impacts everyone. I don't care whether you go to church or not. That song will grab your heart, and it's magical. And so we just took all those songs and kind of thought about it. How many people have heard these songs every day? How many people have these songs impacted, including myself? And we put them in this one CD. And then we did the DVD and talked about the songs and talked about how they came about and why we wanted to do them. And when I saw myself listening to it, or when I was listening to and watching the DVD back, like I said, I'm not a fan of myself anyway. I don't like to hear myself sing or watch myself on TV or whatever. But when I was watching this DVD back, I found myself smiling and really feeling good about it, because I felt like if I feel this way, I know people are going to love it, and it will get something out of it to use in their lives in a positive way. And so it's a magical thing, and it was a God thing for sure, from beginning to end.
Yeah. So to sum it up, then, for people to get out, what should be the reason why they'd go out and buy Hits and Hymns or see one of your shows? Why should they go do that?
Well, for one thing, if you want to find out anything about me and kind of where I've been and how I was raised, I tell in my shows about where I came from before I was with the Statler Brothers. That's if you ever saw the Waltons TV show, you saw exactly how I grew up, and in the same place. I got to know Earl Hamner, which is the writer and creator of the Waltons, and we've talked a lot. And I've told him that I think he stole it from my family, actually, because I'm number 7 of 9 children, and we used to do the same things, like saying goodnight, each one of us right on down the line, until my dad would finally say, "I'll shut up and go to bed," because there was 9 of us, so he got a little tired of hearing it, But you're going to see things like, hear about things like my childhood growing up, my years with the Statler Brothers. I pay tribute to the Statler Brothers because they gave me a break. If it wasn't for those guys, I would not have had the career I had and have. And also, in my shows, I talk about the new things that I'm doing, like this new CD, the things that are on the horizon for me. I still feel like I'm creating, I'm writing. When I get up in the morning, I have a purpose, and my purpose is to, when I go out, to affect someone's life in a positive way and not a negative way, to try to do what God asked me to do in my music and in my life, and put a smile on my face and greet the day and say, "Hey, I'm thankful for this day," and so I'm going to make the best of it. And to me, if you come to one of my shows, you'll get that feeling, and you'll get the feeling of when, if you have a loss in your family, whether it's a death or whether it's a job or whether it's something going on in your life, and you want a song that might pertain to, or you might hear me say something that that not only are we loved, but God cares about us, and that there is a way out to any circumstance that you have, and that if you have God and you have the Lord in your heart, you have everything, and you know that that's the way out to inward peace. Matter of fact, that's what my mother told me. She said, "The most important thing I'll ever tell you." She wrote it in a Bible I had years ago. She said, this message to me was, "Jimmy," she said, "I know life's been hard for you, but sometimes we make it hard on ourselves by the choices that we make. But," she said, "the one thing I'm going to tell you that's the most important thing that you'll ever hear me say is that Jesus can and is the way out to inward peace." And I thought, man, at the time, I didn't really think a lot of it, but as the time went on, I kept reading that. It was a profound statement that really has kind of guided me to where I'm at in my life now, because I came to a point in my life to where I was broken, and that's all I had. And in anybody's life, if you're out there struggling in this world, if you have a lifeline that's thrown down to you, and you're out there swimming in an ocean, you can't swim anymore, and somebody throws you a lifeline, wouldn't you reach out and grab it? And I felt like that's what it was to me. That's what Jesus was to me. That was my lifeline to my inward peace and to what I was looking for happiness and joy for my life. And so why wouldn't I, if it's the only lifeline you have, why wouldn't you reach out and grab it? And so that profound statement that my mama told me has followed me through my life and brought me to this point today. And I feel like singing these songs that I sang, I put my heart and my soul and a lot of hard work into it, along with Ben Isaacs, who did the same exact thing, and all the people, the musicians and singers and songwriters that had anything to do with this. They did it for the right reasons, and whatever comes of it, if somebody gets something out of it that they can use in a positive way in their life, we've done our job. No matter what else happens with this, we think we did what God wanted us to do. Hi, I'm Jimmy Fortune, and thanks for visiting CyberCountry, and thanks for listening to my music. And you know where you can catch more of my music and more of what's going on with Jimmy Fortune is on jimmyfortune.com. It's www.jimmyfortune.com. So check it out. Let us know what you think, and God bless each and every one of you. And thank you again.